does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today I'm very excited checking out Freya's Folly from Eagle Griffin Games. This is for 3 to 5 players, ages 10 plus. It'll take you about 50 to 75 minutes to play. And in Freya's Folly, you are going to be sending dwarves into a mine in order to get gems so you can build Freya jewelry. And in other news, the award for worst box art ever! Potentially Freya's Folly. Very, very bland looking game. But is the game bland? Let's open up and I'll tell you what I think. Before we do that though, I want to give a big shout out to Wandering Monsters Studios. They have an upcoming game, Sarah's Singularity. They were nice enough to back us on our Kickstarter to help send us to Gen Con, so be sure to check them out. But let's open up this game and I'll check it out. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what's going to get inside of Freya's Folly. First and foremost, for your handy dandy rule booklet. The English half is about, 6-7 pages, double-sided, full color. It's got some pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's very well done. It's a very well done rule booklet. The only conundrum I have with it, it's very oddly shaped. It's a little bit of a wonky rule booklet. I'd like to see it on a different, I wish it was printed differently, but still, it's a very well done rule booklet. So in Freya's Folly, you are going to be attempting to take your dwarves, which are going to be these tokens right here, and you're going to take them into these mines right here and try and collect all the gems in order to build jewelry for Freya and get victory points. Not quite sure about the whole Freya part with the theme, but we'll talk more about that in the pros and cons. I have 6 right here. That's the most that you can have. If you play with more players, you will have less of these tokens. Now, each player is also going to get one of these little handy dandy boards right here. This is paper. Yes, it's paper. It's double-sided, which has German on the back, which is nice. But this is going to have all 6 different spots for your dwarves that you're going to be sending to the mine, and also their wheelbarrows, because they're going to be filling their wheelbarrows full of gems. I'm not going to show you any more of this except for when we collect some gems, but what you really need to pay attention to are the actions you can take on the bottom. So in this game, you're going to be able to take 6 actions on your turn. Realistically, you're going to be able to take 2 actions on a turn, but there's only 6 actions that you can take overall. Realistically, only 5, unless you happen to have the Thief ability card. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So, on your turn, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be venturing into the cave, attempting to get the gems. Why do you want the gems? You want the gems because they're going to allow you to complete these cards up here. These are these pieces of jewelry. So for instance, if I have a large green gem and a small blue gem, and I spend one of my dwarfs who's not in the cave, mining, to make it, I'm going to have 12 victory points at the end of the game. However, if I don't get this built, I will get -6 victory points at the end of the game. Now, taking one of these cards is one of the 6 actions you can take. We'll go a little bit more over the different actions, but this is primarily how you are going to be scoring victory points by building different pieces of jewelry. I believe they have totals from 8 to 25. So high risk, high reward with those. Another action you'll be able to take is you'll be able to collect special ability cards. And there's special ability cards right up here. You're only going to have 3 set out at most. And they will do a variety of different things. They give you this handy dandy little cheat sheet card to help you figure it out. It's not a very useful little micro card. I wish they, but yeah. I'll talk more about that in pros and cons. But some of the different abilities that you can pick up, there's a bat. So when you go in there, you'll be able to immediately give 2 of your gems to your bat, and then he will fly back out of the mine, and you'll just have 2 gems. There's a thief who will steal 2 gems from someone else, or steal gems from the black market. There is stamina, which is one of my personal favorite ones, where you will be able to collect more gems. So normally how this works is that you're going to go into this mine, and when you go to one of the spots with the gems, you just pick up all those gems and you would put them into that corresponding wheelbarrow. So let's just say number 2 guy came in here and he was like, boom, I'm picking up these gems. He would take these 3 gems and he would put those onto his 2 wheelbarrow right there. Now, to note that he has the gems, he would flip it over to the gem side to show that he is now carrying gems. He can't do anything else except come back out of the mine and then give the gems to you so you can build jewelry. However, if you have stamina, the stamina ability card, then he will be able to go back down and get another collection of jewels and also put them into that same wheelbarrow. So that's what that stamina ability will do. There's also one that will make you go faster. There's one that will make it so people can't go by you, or that you can jump over more people. And I'll show you how the movement works in a little bit, because that is really one of the most interesting aspects of the game. So the end of the game is going to get triggered when you have used all of your dwarves in order to build jewelry, at which point that will trigger the end of the game and you'll total up the points. You also get 6 victory points for ending the game. Now, an alternative way the game can end are these cards up here, which will only be built with the special yellow gems. There are yellow gems scattered around the mine. And if you build this, you don't get any victory points at all. However, you are going to get 3 of these little tokens right here. Now, these tokens are very valuable, both for victory points and for just using them in the game. So, this is going to allow you to take an additional action on your turn, and you can use up to 3 of these on your turn. So instead of only taking 2 actions on a turn, you'll be able to take up to 5 actions. So those are incredibly valuable. Also, at the end of the game, they're either going to be worth 3 victory points or 6 victory points. They are worth 3 victory points if you don't use them, if someone ends the game by building enough jewelry. They are worth 6 victory points if someone builds 4 of these cards. If the group together as a whole, so all the players, build 4 of these cards, the game ends immediately. So there's 2 different ways that you can end the game. So let's show you how the gameplay works. So on your turn, what are the actions you can take? The first one, and the one you'll be doing primarily, is you can move a dwarf disc to the next vacant lantern, and you enter right here. And how this works is, if you go first, you can either go here or here, and that would be 1 action. Now, how this is really cool is, so let's just say I've took my first action, I'm going to take another action, and now I'm going to put my 2 guy, and I'm going to put him into the mine as well. So, I can go here, here, or here. So you see what I did there? I covered up the lantern with my dwarf, so now that means that I'm going to be able to travel a little bit faster, but this is kind of a double-edged sword, so let's just say I did this. Because boom, 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 boom. So now we come to the next player. What's he going to do? Well, this seems like a golden opportunity right here. He has a couple different choices. So let's just pretend it's blue, and he's going to take the number 5 in. He could go here, he could go here, or he can skip by 2 dwarves and go to here or to here. So he could essentially, on his very first turn, just pick up both these gems, put them onto his blue wheelbarrow, and then if he wanted to for a second action, he could go right back up and return those gems, and he just gained 2 gems on his turn. So that's how the movement's going to go. Now, you can't jump past 3, so let's just say that this blue guy was right here. This is now blocked. This is not a way you can go. So it can help you move very quickly, how the movement works in this game, or you can use it to your advantage to block other people so they have to go different directions. Because as people take gems out of the mine, they don't replenish. The gems in this game don't replenish, so you're going to have to try and go to the other end of the mine. You're going to have to try and go deeper into the mine. You're going to have to do different things. Now, the next action you can do is you can take an ability card. The ability cards are right over here, and we talked a little about those earlier, so you might take this, and you also take a corresponding, well, that's a terrible example. You also take a corresponding little thing right here to represent who you are going to give stamina. So you would put that on top of that. We found it easiest to put it actually on top of the physical piece so everybody would know. But you would put this in front of you. You can only have 3 of these in front of you at a given time, and you can't have 2 of the same type. So you couldn't have 2 bats or 2 stamina or 2 speed or anything like that. And then once you've taken one, you immediately replenish it. This is the only action that you can take once per turn. Everything else you could do twice a turn if you want. Now, third thing, you can complete a setting card. Setting cards are the jewelry. We talked about it earlier. So let's just say you grabbed this earlier in the game. How this works is you would just, well, you know what? We're actually going to skip it. We're going to say you could take a setting card. This is another one of the actions you can do on your turn. So we're going to take this setting card. That is our first action. And this has popped up. Whoa, this has popped up, and that has popped up. And that's one of the interesting aspects of the game I completely forgot to mention, is the fact that the top half of this deck is filled with not only these cards, but also these cards. So once you run out of these, you're kind of at the whim of when these cards are going to come out. So that would be taking an action, is to take a jewelry card. Now, another action you can do is you complete a jewelry card or complete one of these cards right here. How you do that? You have to have a dwarf who is on the outside of the mine. You turn in those gems down there, and then you tuck this over to the side, and you have 12 victory points. This dwarf is not yours anymore. You cannot use him anymore. The next action you can take is to the last action you can take is you can use a thief to steal up to 2 cards. Excuse me. erase that. And the last action you can take is not to use the thief and steal 2 gems, which is something that you can do, but it's also to trade with the black market. Now, I haven't talked about the black market. The black market are those gems right up there. These are the extras in the game, and each time you play, the black market is going to be different because this is randomly set out. The yellows are always going to be in the same spots, but all the other gems are randomly set out, and essentially you can trade any 2 of your gems for more gems. So how this would work is it's a 2-to-1 system. So for instance, I could trade this large red gem for a blue and a red, or a red and a red, or a purple and a blue, anything like that. And then likewise, you could trade in 2 small ones to get a big one from over there. You probably won't find yourself doing it too terribly often, but it is something that you definitely can do. Anywho, you're going to continue to go until until the group has completed 4 of these, or until someone has completed enough of the jewelry in order to use all of their dwarves, at which point the game will end. You will tally up the points, which will consist of how many gems you have. So 2 points for the big gems, 1 point for the little unused gems that are out of the mine. You'll get victory points for the point tokens right there. You'll get victory points for ending the game. You'll get victory points, obviously, for your jewelry. And then you will see who has the most points. Whoever has the most is the winner of Freya's Folly. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game's played. Alrighty then, Freya's Folly from Eagle Griffin Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, 3 to 5 players, a little bit of a restricted player count right there. Also, analysis paralysis can rear its ugly head in this game because there's some interesting choices to behold in this game, and some people are going to be like, I'm not quite sure what to do. So that is something that I did want to mention. Also, the game looks incredibly bland and boring. I actually went out of my way not to show the box to anybody when I busted this game out for the first time. I was like, yeah, well, let's play this game. And I didn't show them the box. This is so boring looking. It's, why has this game not received a facelift? This game came out in like 10 years ago. At least upgrade the cover art. Also, the rule booklet is a little bit weird. It's very odd that they chose this style of rule booklet. It's not the most user-friendly the way the rule booklet is. Now, the rule booklet itself is very well done, but I wish the rule booklet was, yeah, like that. Kind of crazy. I know. Whatever. Not a big deal right there. Also, these little cards right here, they're not the most useful. I mean, you look at them and you're like, wait, what does this mean? I think, you're gonna need to explain the ability cards a little bit thoroughly when you first start the game, because these aren't really gonna help that much. That being said, there's not that many ability cards, so that is a minor nitpick. I like the game best at 3 players. But that being said, I also liked it at 4 and 5 players. So that's very, very nitpicky there. But 3 players was my favorite player count. I felt like I had a little bit more control. Whereas with 5 players, you're much more prone to get block. And, you know, those ability cards are going to be gone by the time it gets to you, especially if some of the good ones come up. And that's another thing. Some of those ability cards feel like they're better than other ability cards depending on the player count. And in particular, depending on how late the game it is. You know, so that is something to consider. So, any other cons that I have with the game? I'm trying to think of many. You got to put stickers on at the beginning. I know that's a pet peeve to some people. I don't mind it at all, but I did want to mention it. Oh, yeah. Player, come on. Paper? Paper? Really? Like, this is... that's frustrating. So, component-wise, artwork-wise, this game needs a facelift. But, gameplay-wise, let's move on to the pros. This game deserves a facelift. This game is really freaking good. Like, this game is not just good. This is a great game that I am highly recommending to you if you hit 3, 4, or 5 players. Period. End of the discussion, it should be. But I'll tell you why, obviously, or else this wouldn't be that great of a review. So what do I like about this game? It's deceptively simple. You have this board in front of you. When you first get out the board, you're like, what is this game about? It looks like it's, you know, something from an old NES game. And the theme comes across pretty well, but as you progress through the game, you should be like, oh, wait, I should have done that. I should have done this. Wait, when should I move this guy? Should I stay with the pack because it's going to make it quicker to move? When do I decide to move? How deep in the mine do I go? Everybody's over here on the right side, and I'm worried that all the good stuff's going to be taken. Should I go over to the left side and, you know, make my way down? It's going to take a little while to get down there, but man, it'll be worth the while. And then you have to start looking at the gems, and it's like, ooh, you know, this one's real close to me, but I don't need those gems with the current market that's out there, with the current jewelry that I have. So maybe should I continue going downward, or should I consider using the black market? I like how the black market system works, how it's constantly in flux. I love games that have markets in there where they're not the same every time. The market and the board in this is going to be different every single time. Now, it's not a huge difference. Like, it's not going to change how you play the game, but I like it. It adds just a little bit of variability. I like the decisions you make with your action tokens. Like, these action tokens are worth a lot of points, but being able to go 3 extra turns, like take 3 extra actions on your turn, is amazing. That's taking 2.5 turns instead of 1 turn, but at the same time, those same 3 tokens, that's 9 victory points at the end of the game, or potentially 18 victory points at the end of the game. It really makes you think about when you use those action tokens. I like that a lot. I like the artwork on the cards too. I really did. The theme comes across, except for the whole Freya thing. Like, why am I making her jewelry? Why can't I just be a greedy dwarf who wants to make jewelry and then sell it? I mean, yeah, so the game definitely needs a retheme, definitely needs new components, but it deserves it. It is an outstanding game. I really like this game. I think it's a great family game if you have older kids. I think it is a great game night game. Absolutely. I know this is going to go straight onto my shelf, and I can't wait until my son is old enough to play it with me. But before then, this is going to get played on game nights. I liked it at all the different player counts. I said I liked it best at 3 players. I still stick by that. But overall, Freya's Folly, wow. Do not let the box art, do not let the name, do not let the age of this game deceive you. This is a rock solid family weight, but still meaty enough to play on game night game. That is Freya's Folly from Eagle Griffin Games, one that I highly recommend you go back and check out. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, jewelry, do you dig it or not? I have, I guess, 2 pieces of jewelry. I have my wedding ring, which I always forget to wear after I do dishes, and then I have my watch, which just I use for my steps. I really don't wear that much jewelry. I used to have plugs in my ears, but I'm not really much of a jewelry guy. Are you? Are you a jewelry fan? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.